It's time for the Brown Sports Bag on WCLU, the official local sports show here in Glasgow and Barron County. And now, alongside John Butler, here is your host, James Brown.
Welcome back to the Brown Sports Bag again this week. We're going to continue our parade of coaches this week, and some people are going to be shocked at the coach I have in here with me. It's Trevent Hayes, Caverna football coach, and I say shocked because we're just going to get the air out of the way, okay? We're just going to get it all out of the way to start with so that we can get through that and talk about your football team. You know, there's been obviously a little bit of turmoil in the offseason, and really none of it's related to football. It's just, you know, when you have a small school, a lot of people get caught up in the whirlwind of things that go on. And, of course, you had a basketball coach who, yeah, for real, don't do it again. You're right, don't do it again. Yeah, you have a basketball coach who resigned his position. And we're not going to go into all that. People can have read all about it, I'm sure, talked all about it. And then you had another basketball coach that came in and then left a month later. And I can tell you now, you have a new basketball coach at Caverna High School. Josh Pittman is officially going to be the basketball coach, coming from Success Academy in New York. Mm-hmm. He's originally from Kentucky, so so that's all kind of out of the way. But in the meantime, and this is not unusual for Caverna, your numbers were low before school started because that's usually what happens at Caverna. You don't have people who don't show up until the first day of school.
Right.
So, there's nothing new on that front for the football program, especially, you guys, a good year, you have 25 kids.
That's a great year.
Yeah, that's right. That's a great year. So, Caverna's usually bumping around somewhere between 18 and 22.
Yep. And
that's about where you are now that school's back in session, right?
Right.
So now that we got all that out of the way, you do have a football program. You do have a football team. You are going to have a football season. You're not playing the first game of the season because of the requisite number of days people needed to practice before they could play a game. Is that right?
Correct. 5, 3, and 3.
Yep. So you guys are working on that. That means you're not going to play that opening season game, but there will be Meet the Colonels on Friday night in place of a football game.
Right.
But your season will then officially kick off on the 29th at home against McLean County, right?
Yes, sir.
So, how you feel?
I feel all right. It was a pretty hectic weekend.
Yeah.
Honestly. Anytime that there's things going on in your community or it involves your school and then your name gets attached to it,
yeah,
it makes it a very long weekend. But we have overcame that, so we're ready for preparation week for another week and 4 days to get ready for McLean County.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about the players you have out there because obviously everybody kind of circles the twins,
right.
Tyson and Kenyon. Mm-hmm. That's because they're two of the best football players in the state.
Absolutely.
Last year, they were two of the top running backs in the state, plus on the defensive side of the ball, the work they do. And so a lot of people paid attention to what they were up to.
Right.
But they're out there. And tell me, when they came out there that first day, what did they tell you?
They were like little kids. They were excited. They've both set themselves goals, not only individually, but as a team. But when you think about it, I'm basically only missing 2 kids from the middle school team that I started with. Yeah. So, I've had all these kids for a total of 4 years. I didn't coach them their freshman year, but they're excited and they know that we're going to have some challenges due to everybody playing both sides of the ball. But they're definitely up for the challenge, and I think if there are 2 kids that can do it, it's definitely them.
Yeah. John, you got any questions for
Well,
Coach
those
Hayes?
2 kids had 41 touchdowns. So I did my homework. I counted them up. And it's not just rushing touchdowns. They had interception returns, fumble recoveries for touchdowns, kickoff returns, punt returns. So there's 41 between
and
those
a passing.
2. And a passing.
And a passing.
That's correct.
Yes.
So that's a pretty good start. And I'm not even counting on another kid that is probably going to be back too, who had 5 or 6 too. So offensively, you were good last year. borderline great at times last year. You went 6-5 last year and scored a lot of points, and you had a good schedule too. So offensively, you probably still feel like you're going to score points, right? Especially as the offensive coordinator and head coach, right?
I really feel like outside of the Dare County game, of course, we threw up a goose egg at Dare County up in the bowl game at Marion.
Well, they were good, too.
They were.
Yes.
They were. They had a good season. But teams are going to have to score at least 4 touchdowns to beat us.
Right.
Because I feel like we'll score 28 to 35 points a game. And if our defense can hold up at all, it's just going to be a scoring battle.
And it's an attrition battle too, right? Because they're
It
playing
is.
both ends. You got to stay healthy, and I just think it's really difficult. I don't think as long as you stay healthy late in the year. I've said they did about our team, 4A, 5A, 6A. Late in the year when it's cooler, I think it's easier to play both ways.
It
When
is.
It is hot. That's the
It is
trouble part.
the kids cramp.
Yeah.
But we were able to, fill them full of the new pickle juice and the popsicles and all that stuff. And I was never a fan of that, but the stuff actually works. I tell the kids once football starts, you got to take those soft drinks out of your diet, that sugar. You got to really try to eat fruit and we will do the Gatorades and Powerades with salt to replenish them, so to say. But we've started conditioning before practice. And I think if you condition before practice and you practice tired, it gets your body prepared to play 4 quarters.
Yeah. Well, and, one of the things that over the last 3 seasons as you've been coaching, you've run into is trying to develop an offensive line to block for those guys, especially block passing plays and that kind of stuff. And that's probably been your biggest struggle.
It has been.
But you feel pretty good about it this year.
It's great to have 9 or 10 linemen.
Yeah.
Half our team is linemen.
And they got to play both ways.
And they play
defense.
well. Actually, they don't.
You can rotate them.
We can rotate them.
Right.
And 3 of the guys will never have to play defense. So
And those are your bigger guys.
those are our bigger guys, and we've got some big guys. We've got a few heavyweights on the line. But we've got a kid, Carter Riley. He weighs about 165, 170 pounds. He's only about 5'10", but he's actually going to play guard and probably nose for us. He won't get tired, and the only way that he won't play is if he gets hurt.
Yeah.
He's a machine.
Yeah. Not a big dude.
Not a big dude, but he's meaner than a rattlesnake. But like my brother says all the time, any kid that rides a bull is
pretty tough.
pretty tough. So those kids that moved here from Idaho, they all have experience riding bulls. And so being threw off a bull is a little bit different than, a 300-pound lineman trying to bully you. That he's so fast that'll never happen.
Yeah, and that's nothing. If you can tackle a bull, you can deal with anybody, huh?
Right.
Well, and you have a senior on your line, I think Zandon Korn, that you're going to be looking for.
Zandon is actually our best defensive lineman. I've told him it's taken me years to get you to understand that you have to learn how to shift down. Zandon is on the quarterback's heels, regardless of who we play. He's so fast coming off the line, but he's got to learn how to control his speed per se, because he runs past the play way too much.
Yeah.
But those are some things that he's been working on, and I think he'll be good at it this year.
Yeah, he seemed to be one of the guys when I was out there Friday really excited about getting the season started.
Yes.
I mean, because I think he's, like I said, he's one of the seniors, one of those guys you've been around since middle school, and I guess is like really excited about the potential for this season for you guys.
Yep.
And to that end, you start with McLean County, which is pretty decent 3A program, I think.
They are.
And then you turn around and play Hart County, which is Caverna's ancient rival, but also a good 3A program.
They are.
Then you go to Eminence, which has been a solid program in the last few years. And you've got some teams on your schedule this year that I think people would kind of go, Caverna's playing these guys?
Right.
I mean, you got Jeffersontown, Christian County, and then you wrap up the season at Danville.
Right.
What when you put this schedule together, I mean, what were you thinking? I
was thinking that Tyson Martin has just as good of a chance to be Mr. Football as anybody in the state of Kentucky. I know that, locally here, There's some good kids at Glasgow. There's some good kids at Barron. There's some good kids at Bowling Green. But when you look at what that kid's done in his career,
Yeah.
I think that he's the best player in the state of Kentucky. So in order for outside of camps, with football it's a little different. You don't have AAU and you don't have travel football. So with football, regardless of what people say, the coaches still want to see you on Friday night. They want to see that tape.
Yeah.
So if he can put together good games in that stretch, then that's going to maybe solidify him as who I say he is.
John?
And yeah, I do. Those three schools jumped out. Your district, it's Fulton County, Russellville, Ballard Memorial. I take it Russellville is probably, you and Russellville are probably the two favorites. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say, and honestly, that's the game that our kids have circled on the schedule. Absolutely, them and Hart County. But Russellville is a more important game to me as a coach because it's a district game. It'd be nice to win the district for a second time in 3 years. But we feel like that we were asleep the first quarter last year. They onside kicked us 4 times in the first half, and we didn't get on any of them.
Yeah.
So our kids are really prepared for that kind of stuff. But that's the game that they have circled because there was a lot of dancing around on the field and in the gym, and that the kids don't forget stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, last year's game was coming off the year before's game, which was a wild one over at Russellville.
It was crazy.
So,
It was crazy. We didn't jump around and dance around on the field.
Well, a little rivalry has suddenly developed between these two programs.
And Mikey and I are, I respect Mikey as a coach.
Yeah.
There was never any animosity between us. I actually talked to him a few times in the summer. Just to touch real quick on the reason why people thought we weren't having a season. I knew our numbers were low, and I knew that kids were not going to start until school started.
Yeah.
So in order to play, you've got to have 5, 3, and 3. 5 helmet, 3 shells, 3 full gear, and school started last Wednesday. You can't make up 11 days before this Friday.
Right.
And I'm not going to bring kids in on Sunday, and I'm not going to cheat and say that we practiced and we didn't. It's not fair to the kids that was there for the whole summer. So I reached out to Campbellsville's coach and was like, hey, look, giving you fair warning, we're probably not going to have enough to play that first game. And he got on listserv, and once he got on listserv, it just all over the state. Well, Caverna don't have a team. And it is what it is. It was aggravating, but it is what it is. We're having a team.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the reasons. I mean, I made that joke when you walked in. People would be surprised who I have here to talk about his team today.
And, we lost a couple of kids. We lost a couple of kids that I really didn't think we would lose. But we're in a time now to where, when I first started coaching over 20 years ago, if a kid was at Caverna in the 7th grade, they were going to graduate from Caverna unless the family took a job somewhere out of state or somewhere where the whole family just got up and relocated. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
If schools like Caverna, when you have good athletes, I'm not going to necessarily say that the schools pursue those players, but there's influence from the community.
Yeah.
And they just, basically they just come and take your kids.
Yeah.
And it is what it is.
John and I talk about that on here, the fluidity of where people play in high school and college these days.
Right.
Because, every offseason it's a who's playing where kind of thing. And so you never know. You never know, the kid starts at one school and is somewhere else. By the time they graduate, they may be 2 other places by the time they graduate these days. You just never know.
Some sports guy had it on Facebook about 3 weeks ago. There was over 900 transfers for the football season in the state of Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is a wild number.
That's crazy, yeah.
And we've talked about it on here. I'm not sure what the resolution is. The resolution is people just have to be willing to, I don't know, obey the rules as they exist because the KHSA,
what rules?
Well, the KHSA can't write new rules to fix it. They can only just say it's the Wild West and everybody just throws their hands up. But, those pendulums will swing back the other way at some point in time.
Yeah.
That's what'll happen.
And, the thing about Caverna, every 5 to 6 years we have good sports programs.
Yeah.
This year will be it for probably 2 or 3 years. They'll be down. in basketball, in everything. But Coach Butler actually coached me, so he knows.
Yeah.
There's just every so often a good group of kids come through.
But the difference is, he's mentioned it. They stay. You had them the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, there's no way I would have. There's no way I would have. There's no way that I could have left Caverna and went to Hart County or Glasgow or Barron County. And believe it or not, the opportunity was presented. But those were my friends. That's who I grew up with. There's no way I would have left.
Yeah. Well, and that is different. So it'll be curious to see, how the future goes for you. Anything else you want people to know before you get out of here, Coach Hayes?
Just come out and support us. So it's Caverna has such a black eye in some of the medias right now. But it seems like anytime there's an opportunity for Caverna to get their next step on, people take it. The kids are great. It's a great community, and we like support. Stop commenting bad stuff and come and support us. Come and meet the kids for yourself. Don't judge it by what people tell you.
Yeah, that sounds like the right idea. So meet the
Friday night.
Colonels.
Everybody's welcome. It's free.
Yeah, meet the Colonels this Friday night. Does that start at 6?
Starts at 6.
Yep.
Starts at 6.
Well, they can get out there and meet the Colonels this coming Friday, and then the next Friday they can catch the Colonels on the football field against McLean County.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach Hayes, for joining us here to talk about Caverna football.
Thanks for having me.
This is Brown Sports Bag, presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
One coach in, after another one's out. I want to thank Coach Trevent Hayes for stopping by and talking to us about Caverna football. Now we have Coach Ken Mahung in here to talk to us about Glasgow Scotties soccer. The season actually started last Monday, so we're a week into it, and you've already managed to play 3 games. I mean, you've been pretty busy right at the gate. Usually when you're coming here, it's before the season gets started. Schedule is a little bit different these days for me, but and so I'll ask you, what your expectations for the season are and that kind of thing. And one of the interesting things to me is that, you have a pretty senior-heavy team, and I think this is a season you've been looking forward to, at least in terms of, who you had coming back and that kind of thing. But as is usually the case at the start of the season, there are always things to be worked on, isn't that right?
That's correct.
And so maybe it's not started quite as well as you thought, and I think you interviewed with my son Augie and kind of mentioned that that maybe the players were reading the press clippings a little too much and maybe not playing the way you wanted them to because they thought they were just too good.
Absolutely. They're superstars.
Yeah, and so maybe got a little awakening to start the season.
They sure did, especially when it went to Ohio County. Yes, they did.
Yeah, so how do you kind of get them to refocus and get them to say, you can be as good as you think you can be, but only if you're playing as a team?
Well, that's what we're working on right now. They know we talked this morning, we had practice this morning, and they know that what I look at is attitude. You could have all the skills in the world, but if you don't have the right attitude, then by now, you've followed us long enough that you don't have a space in our program.
Yeah.
So that message is coming out loud and clear. We'll practice again this evening.
Yeah.
And we're going to see where we are. As I told them, today is a day that I get to see who wants to be part of this team. You mentioned that we're senior heavy. Actually, we only have 5 seniors.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Maybe it just seems like it because those 5 seniors have been around forever.
Exactly, from the beginning. So, no, they're a serious team. The captains have really stepped up. They've changed a lot. And I know, as you know, every year we've never played the same from season to season because we don't have that type of talent. We don't have that luxury. So we have to adjust our coaching to the players that we have. And we're still going through that right now.
Yeah. I noticed that Jared was your leading scorer last year, Malagon. He had 36 goals, I think, which was the leader in the district as well. And it seemed like you were playing him, at least at the start of the season, in a slightly different position, more as a guy to initiate the offense than finish the goals. Is that how that is?
Absolutely.
So is that part of what you're doing, is trying to get him and those guys to kind of mix together a little differently than they have been?
Exactly. Now, since middle school, they're used to him being the goal scorer.
Yeah.
But because the makeup of our team this year, that's not something we can do. So we have to adjust. And him adjusting to that new role, and then the other guys adjusting to their role, it's taken longer than I expected. I really thought that by now we've gotten it, but we got exposed at Ohio County. And even Saturday, when we played Russell County, after the game, they came and said, "Coach, we should have won that game." I said, "Well, don't tell me. I don't play the game. You guys go talk about that."
Yeah.
Because they realized that they're still off. They're not in sync yet.
Well, and along with him, you have a couple of guys like Isaiah Ramos, who's another guy who's used to scoring goals, and maybe he's playing a little different role.
That's correct.
And you've got a couple of younger guys, I think, that you've moved up to those more of the topside positions there as goal scorers.
Yes.
And I guess that's you have faith that those more veteran players are better at setting up the offense?
It's not even that. It's the movement that they have to get. Our movement is, this year, I've introduced more advanced techniques because most of them coming from middle school.
Yeah.
I thought they were ready for it. So it's taking some time for them to adjust to, what do I do now? Where do I go? And then the ball handler has to know, when do I make that pass? When do I do something else? And right now they're second guessing. They're second guessing themselves.
Thinking too much.
Yes.
John?
Well, there's nothing wrong with being a little behind after the first week. You got there's a lot of growth to the team. That's right. You don't want to be playing your best right now. So
that is true.
You solved that problem. But last year, you're good last year. You 16-8, won the district again, and lost in the first round to Franklin in the region.
That's correct.
And so I do think that you expect this team to, as the year goes on, to be a threat again. I know
Absolutely.
I know the goal, immediate goal is to win the district, but somebody's going to have to eventually break through those Bowling Green schools in the region.
Yes.
I know that's the ultimate goal.
Yes.
Do you think, do your players believe that's possible down the road? Can you see that?
We talked about that.
They got to believe it, though, don't
exactly.
they?
Exactly. Yeah. And I remember one of the boys telling me, he said, "Coach, we're going to go play." No, Bowling Green was coming to play us for the scrimmage. We scrimmage Bowling Green the first game. And he told me, "Coach, my captains are saying we're going to lose." I said, "Really? Which captain?" So we had a conversation about that. Some of them believe it, some don't. So, of course, we have to believe that as a team. And as we start playing together as a team, once they start to understand what they're supposed to do, the belief will come.
Because the skill difference is not that great anymore, is it?
It's not. It's not.
Then it comes
really
down
isn't.
to the mental part and the belief and so forth. Yep.
That's really what it comes down to. It comes down to the mental capacity, them understanding that they can compete and win, not just compete,
right,
but actually beat the Bowling Green teams.
Well, and you can kind of look, it's been a minute now, but you can look back in your past and circle a year and say, look, we beat South Warren in the regional tournament.
That's correct.
And we challenged Warren Central in the regional tournament.
That's
we have a
correct.
program that's been at that level. You just got to believe that we can get there and stay there and that kind of thing.
Yep.
So, it's not like, it's a first-time thing for
Yes.
at least for you guys.
It's not like we haven't done it.
Yeah.
We've actually done it. And that's the alums who are also assistant coaches, they remind them of that. So I love when the alums just come in and say, "Guys, you can do this." So I don't have to talk about it. They hear it from the guys that they look upon as their heroes. Yeah.
Going back to John's question there about the district, how do you think the district shapes up this year?
I don't know. I was telling my wife. I was going to ask you because I have no idea what Warren East looks like. Nothing. I know nothing about Warren East at all.
Don't you play them tomorrow?
We play them tomorrow.
And that's that's a district game and 2A sectional game?
That's correct.
So you'll know after tomorrow.
I'll know after tomorrow. And Coach Alexander, we had the scrimmage with South Warren
Yeah.
at Greenwood because they're putting turf
Yeah.
at South Warren. And he asked me the same question. I said, how does the district look? I said, I don't know. I really have no idea because I know nothing about they have a new coach that I know. I know nothing about them. So I really couldn't tell you.
Yeah. How often do you, when do you send your scouts out to check out your district opponents? You just.
We don't have any scouts. We don't have any. We don't scout. We don't do any of that. We just play. I always tell our boys, we focus on us. If we play our system, we can beat anybody. All we do is focus on playing our system.
Yeah. So what do you, off of the weekend and off of last week, what is it that you hope to see when you guys play Warren East tomorrow?
A better defense. Our defense, I thought our defense was getting there, but after watching the Ohio County game and the Russell County game on Saturday, I realized that we're still short on defense for sure. On offense, we're just off, but that will come as they get to understand their role. So I know that will come.
Yeah.
But right now our offense is pretty much lacking as well. So right now the team is just underperforming. It really is.
Well, you also generally play a pretty tough schedule.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those, you get to the end of the year, your team may be better than your record, but I guess we shall see.
We shall see.
Is that where we are?
I believe that every year it takes me about 3 to 5 games to finally figure out how we're going to play. This is our 3rd game. I think I need a couple more before. I think that by the time we get to the end of Scotties Classic this Saturday, I'll have a really good idea.
Yeah.
And then we'll settle down. Our results will be more consistent. But until then, I'm still trying different things. I'm trying different people in different positions.
Yeah.
Changing up formations. I'm still doing that as if though it's preseason. We're literally playing like it's preseason right now.
I guess the ambition is to, when you get to that district tournament at the end of the year, that's when you want everything nailed down. John often points us out, you don't want to get hot too soon. You want to get hot at the right time.
That's correct.
And a lot of times you're spending a lot of the season figuring out, how things are going to work. It's a little easier in basketball where you got 32 games or so your record can still look pretty good. In a sport like soccer where you might have 14 or 16 games, it just looks a little worse, I guess. John, you got anything else?
No, just wish you the best of luck. I got all the confidence in the world. I've seen this play out before. You're 1-1-1, so you've done it all this first week. That's right, and I have no doubt that you'll figure out who to play and the right system to play and so forth as the year goes on. I wish you the best.
Well, thank you for your confidence in us. I appreciate that.
Anything else you want people to know, Coach Mahung?
Yeah, I'd like everyone to know that it would be great to have the support, especially when they're playing at home, because it motivates the kids.
Yeah.
I was telling my wife, even at our Scottish Classic, there were more fans for the middle school team than for our boys varsity. And that's a shame because our boys work really, really hard. They give all that they can give for this program and for the school to look good. The school pride is important to them. So
yeah.
Anybody just come out to the game.
Yeah.
We have Scottish Classic on a Saturday. Starts 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Please come out and just support the boys because they deserve it. They work really hard.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Coach Mahung, and good luck to you guys. This is the Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We've been here with Coach Ken Mahung of the Glasgow Scotties soccer program. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
Well, that concludes our parade of coaches for fall sports at this point. We'll have some more as the season gets on. I know we still have to get the girls' golf coaches in, maybe some volleyball coaches, that kind of stuff, maybe even cross country. We'll just, everybody's seasons are underway this week, John. So, we'll get as many more as we can in before, we get to that fall break period. Speaking of coaching news, it's official. Caverna has a new boys basketball coach. We talked about this at the top with Trevent Hayes while he was in here, and his name is Josh Pittman. He's been at Success Academy in New York. I'm not exactly sure which city. For the past 3 years before that, he was a college assistant at Manhattan University, Bethel College, and then Center College before that. He's originally from Kentucky. I'm guessing he attended Louisville because he was a student assistant coach way back when at Louisville when Rick Pitino was there.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so, he's got a track record. From what I understand, I've not talked to him yet, but we'll have an interview with him, and we'll try to get him on the show whenever he's available. From what I understand, he was looking to get back to home, back to Kentucky, and this worked out. So, hopefully this kind of gets everything settled down, and we can get on with the sports season here for Caverna, and see good things happen for him, both in football and basketball and whatever else, John.
Yeah, it's it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. Now they've got a really good team coming back.
Yeah.
And but they've gone through 2 coaches in 3 months, and this will be the 3rd one. So got a good team, and they got some good, still as far as I know, some new players that's come in too. So
yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
Yep. And then in other golf-related news, Griffin Jackson won the 2A sectional today. I think he shot a 2 under 69.
Oh, great.
So he qualified for the 2A state tournament. That'll be in Owensboro in 2 or 3 weeks or so. But that was, most importantly, that was at Park Mammoth. It was a scorcher out there today, and he shot 2 under par. So it was a heck of a round out there for him as well.
Oh, it's miserable outside too.
Yes.
So I would think you would have to get off to a good start.
Yeah.
Because if not, the mental the mental fatigue of playing bad in this heat has to be tough. So that's a great score.
Yeah, and some other we'll talk about a little bit about soccer here in this section, and then we'll close out the show by getting ready for the football season. But the Glasgow Lady Scotties are off to a 3-0 start in soccer. We had Scott in here a few weeks ago talking about how he felt this team could do. And it's actually a young team too.
Yeah, they defeated Clinton 8-0. Warren, the big one was the Warren East.
Yes, it was.
Getting a district win 2-1 over Warren East. I think Maria Ramos, a freshman, and Audrey Burchett, senior, both had goals, and then 6-1 over Logan.
Yes.
And a lot of these goals against Logan, Madeline Newhouse, she had 3 goals. She's a freshman. Had another freshman, Aniston Young, had a couple goals. So a lot of young kids, too, are really, really contributing. And you just have to remember 2 years ago they didn't win a game.
Yeah. So, barely scored a goal.
And came back last year, won 5 or 6 games. And you can't ask for a better start, 3-0, and plus the big win over Warren East.
Yeah. And then this is the last time they started 3-0 was 10 years ago in 2015, and that was one of the better teams that they had. They ended up going to the regional tournament. I think they lost to Greenwood in the regional 1-0 that year.
Yeah, and starting off 3-0 is for momentum. It's similar to starting off 0-3 2 years ago, in the sense that 0-3 turned into an
0-12 or whatever
12
it was.
and 14, where you just lose confidence and so forth.
Yeah. I'm
not saying Glasgow's going to go undefeated, the opposite, but the confidence of going 3-0, especially from a team that struggled the previous 2 years, that does so much. You practice better, you have better team chemistry, enthusiasm, all that culture gets better, and that's really good for them.
And also, they play again today at 6 o'clock against Monroe County. That schedule was originally 5:30, but it's a 6 o'clock game now. So
another very winnable game.
Yes, it is. And then they will play Warren East again in the 2A sectional, and probably, I don't know if it'll count as a district game as well, coming up. So that'll be interesting. Meanwhile, the Barron County Trojanettes off to a bit of a rocky start. They lost 4-3 in their opener on Thursday, and then
To Franklin
Simpson, and then got beat 8-0 by Elizabethtown on Saturday. Now, people may not realize this, but Elizabethtown and Central Hardin are two of the best teams in the 5th region.
Right.
And I would say they're just a notch below like Bowling Green Greenwood usually.
Right.
But they're a very good program.
Oftentimes top 25.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, that's you don't want to lose any game 8-0, but it's not like they were playing a bad team and lost like that.
Right. The Franklin and Barron they've probably battled throughout the years in soccer, right?
Yeah.
Girls soccer. I don't know what the record is against the two teams, but kind of had similar.
Yeah.
Kind of similar in terms of competitiveness and so forth in the past and so forth.
Yeah.
So, it's not the start that you want. You'd probably more realistic could have been 1-1. I never thought they was going to beat E-Town and so forth. So, it's still very, very early, and they have who they played? Do they play?
They
today?
play Warren East today at 7.
They play Warren East today at 7. So we'll see. It's
Yeah.
obviously a winnable game. Glasgow just knocked off Warren East, so we'll see how it goes. If it's a game, they'd be nice for Barron to win.
Yeah, I think that girls' district has gotten a lot more interesting than people probably realized at the beginning of the year.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So
I think Glasgow has kind of said, "Listen, you better count us in."
yes, exactly right. And look, Allen County lost to Monroe last week, but they're not as bad as they were, right out of the gate. They're still a young program, but it's going to be that district gets a little more interesting than it was. Anything else on the soccer front you can think about before we jump to this last segment and talk about high school football?
No, we just hadn't mentioned the Barron County boys. They started 0-1-1.
Yes, that's right.
I think it's it's just 0-1, right?
Yeah.
Or is it 0-2? They started 0-2. They lost. I'm sorry, 0-1.
Yeah, they tied Hart
1-1.
County
I was
out the
right.
gate,
They
yeah.
tied Hart County 1-1. Jack Stevens had the goal.
Yeah.
And lost to Muhlenberg in another low-scoring game, 2-1.
Yeah. Which that Muhlenberg County team is usually pretty good, so
Right.
that's not a bad result, I don't think.
And Hart County's had good boys soccer
Yeah,
teams.
yep. And really that game was a little bit strange because Barron had a penalty kick stopped and a late goal disqualified because of offsides, which was very close. So, that game may not have been a tie, that Barron had a couple of chances to win it. So, they might be kind of like the Glasgow boys in a way. They're still trying to figure some things out right here early in the season. So, anyway, this is about Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
Well, John, we're here. It's high school football week. It's football week all around, really, because college actually starts on Saturday. WKU plays Saturday. Some programming notes for you people. So we will have the Glasgow Scotties games on 103.1 WCLU Blue. On the WCLUradio.com site is a tab under sports that says you can listen to Glasgow here, and there's a page that says Glasgow, and so you can find all your Glasgow updates from all the sports, and then you'll also be able to find the link for the video live stream on Friday nights. Barron County broadcast, oh, by the way, that'll be Joe Myers and Bruce Trevue and Larry Alexander more often than not. The Barron County broadcast is on 104.7, which is WCLU Burgundy. And that's Jay Turner, you, John, most nights, and Robert Bauer most Fridays. You can, same thing there. We have the tab on the WCLUradio.com where it says listen to Barron County here. Whenever the game is on and the stream is running, you can hear it on there. Otherwise, it's a dead stream. So if you click on it, you don't see something, that just means that the broadcast has not yet started. Also, we have the Barron County Sports page. You can click on there and you can see our coverage of Barron County sports, and you can find the video for the live streams on Friday nights. Finally, we have a Caverna Sports page. You can find our coverage of Caverna Sports on there. We're not carrying the live stream of those games this year. We may try to come back to that next year. We had some logistical issues that we just couldn't quite work out in order to broadcast those games like we had planned on. So we're not doing that, but we will be at all their games. We'll have photos, we'll have coverage, we'll have stories from Friday nights, we'll have photos from Friday nights, video interviews from Friday nights, all that jazz. Also this year, we're going to do something That's not been done for WCLU quite like this before. We've had Ask the Coach on WCLU on Saturday mornings, but what we're going to do is we'll have a live report. We'll have a report. Our Saturday morning guy is Augie Brown, so he'll read the report, and then he'll play the coach's interview. You know, if it's Glasgow, it's Jackson Arnett with Joe Myers post-game. They'll play that interview. We'll have a report from the Berrien County game. We'll have the post-game interview with John Myers and Jay Turner, and we'll play that. So that'll be every Saturday morning, somewhere in the 8 o'clock hour. We'll get more information out on that as we get closer to it. Obviously, our first games are Friday night at the Don Franklin Bowl. We had Chris Franklin in here last week talking to us about that. The Glasgow game is at 6 o'clock, as I mentioned. That'll be on 103.1. And then the Berrien County game will be at 8 o'clock. As I mentioned, that'll be on 104.7. And we hope those times are good because, you know, we're at this point of the year where we have to worry about the heat index and whether or not the games get delayed, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to say those are the times. Broadcast time will be 30 minutes before every game for both Glasgow and Berrien. We'll have some coach interviews, get you guys ready for the games. You guys will have a, you know, rundown of who's playing and all this kind of jazz, all the stuff you guys do for the broadcast. And I'm looking forward to this football season because we talked about this last year before the season, and it didn't quite pan out. We said that it could be the best year for the three schools we primarily focus on in football, Caverna, Glasgow, and Berrien County. Turned out it was for Berrien County, one of the best seasons they've ever had. Actually, in terms of going deep in the playoffs, it was the best season they've ever had.
Yes, it was.
Caverna had an outstanding season, not as good as they wanted it. They lost that game to Russellville, and they didn't pull off the first-round win. They're hoping to rectify that this year, but as we talked to Coach Hayes about this, they've got the players to do it. And Glasgow has, I think, about 15 seniors, new coach Jackson Arnett. And I'll be honest with you, they looked pretty good in that scrimmage against Logan County the other night, John.
That's what I've heard. I heard good reports.
Yep.
So I think you're going to see a good year from multiple teams around here.
Yep.
Hope so. It's better for us.
Yeah, it is.
That's right.
It certainly is a lot better to talk about the good teams.
And we'll get a good idea Friday night.
Yep.
I do not know about the team from Tennessee that Glasgow is playing. I assume they're pretty good.
Yeah, I think they made a deep run in the playoffs last year. They may have actually won their state championship last year.
How many are back or whatever. I have no
who
idea. Southwestern, the Barron's opponent, has a history of being good.
Yes.
I mean, they have played a couple times down in the Rafferty Bowl to start off the year.
Yes.
So they're generally a big, strong physical team, so I expect them to be good. So both Berrien and Glasgow, I think, will be tested not only this week but also next week when they play each other.
Yes, that's right. So from the Berrien County side, what are some things that you think to look for this year for the Trojans? That are things that people might not be aware of right now.
Well, they have a lot of kids back.
Yeah.
You know, that's coming off the team they had last year in which they went deep in the playoffs. That's always good. A lot of their line is back. They're big, physical. Jalen, you have the Thomas kid back.
Yeah, Dalen.
Dalen Thomas is back, and Jackson Bird. You have a lot of the skilled players back. They lost Tate Spillman.
Yeah.
And that's he's quarterback and safety, and he made a lot of plays for him, and so that is a question mark until it is proven. Briggs Harris is going to, and Briggs can't be Tate. He's got to be Briggs.
Yeah.
But anytime that you're replacing a quarterback that is a 2-year starter like Tate, that's a little unproven right there, and it may take a while for the quarterback position. The best way to play quarterback is you got to play.
Right.
Experience. So,
yeah.
And unfortunately, the first couple of games are going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So, but, when you have a lot of your players back on offense and defense, that's generally a sign, that, I think big things are expected. But, that's a little bit new for Berrien.
Mm-hmm.
Generally the expectations have not been big. They've been low.
Right.
So how you deal with that's a whole different story.
Yeah. I think real quick on the Berrien before I talk about the Glasgow, I think the secondary is going to be one of the question marks early in the season just because you mentioned Tate. I mean, you lost Bray Bewley. You do have Jackson Bird back, but also I think a guy like Waylon Clemens, who people may not just have paid a lot of attention to, he made a lot of plays during the course of the year, playing linebacker and that kind of thing. So he may be a guy that people didn't really think of being missed, and he may be missed. For Glasgow, they kind of have the opposite thing. They have pretty much all of their skill players back. With the exception of Kellen Stone, he's going to be a big miss. Max Lee at linebacker, I think, is a guy that will be a big miss because he had experience. He's going to be playing in college, and so I think those two guys might be a couple of guys that will stand out that they'll be missed. But I will say this: you've got your quarterback back, which is the first part of building block of any football team. Hudson Gum. You have Jarek Martin back. He's a huge weapon on both sides of the ball. And then you've got Jalen Bradley back, who is a guy who was probably unsung a little bit last year, but can make big plays in an open field. They also have several of their linemen back.
Right.
You have Keevy and Maxey back. I think you have I've forgotten one of the offensive linemen who was coming back that was big last year. Just skipped my mind right there. But I think you're going to have some of those guys back that are going to be big as well for Glasgow.
And with the new – listen, Jackson Arnett coming in, it's not like he's taken over a bad program.
No.
Coach Garman did a super job.
Yeah.
But it is going to be different system, different ideas, and so forth. And coming off it wasn't a terrible year, but it's probably a little disappointing year.
Yeah.
So the kids will be motivated and so forth, and we'll just see how it goes. It seems like so far so good, and they have a very favorable schedule.
Yeah.
There's a lot of winnable games in there. I think they probably them and Hart County will probably be the favorite in the district.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised at the end of the year you see Glasgow 8-2, 9-1 going into the playoffs.
Yeah. It's going to be again. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting year for them. And then real quick on the Caverna Colonels. They're playing a tougher schedule. Numbers will always be a factor, especially as you mentioned when Trevent was in here about early in the season with the heat and that kind of stuff. And so it's going to be, can they weather the early part of the year, avoid injuries and that kind of thing? Because I think once they get deep in their season, they will be a threat.
I do too. And it's just like you said, when you're only dealing with 18 to 20, injuries can crush you.
Yeah.
And but as long as you have the Martin brothers and some of those others out there, they're going to score.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of can they defend and can they hold out for the season.
Yep. All right. This is Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's. Thank you for joining us again this week.
You've been listening to the Brown Sports Bag on WCLU. Be sure to join James and John again next Monday at 4 for another edition of the Brown Sports Bag.